What is going on, guys? Welcome on back to Second and Short. And we are rolling in our new edition series we got going on here. I am Tyler Louder. He is Aaron Ben. Good morning, Aaron.
Good evening, Tyler. How have you been?
I have been well. I had a very slow day of work. And today we are talking about our newest edition on the NFC side. We're going to switch back over. And we have a guy here who was over in like the southeast part of the country. It was St. Louis, and then flew all the way to LA. And now he's signing back in the Atlanta, playing for the Atlanta Falcons, you know, the same state that he played college in. We're talking about Todd Gurley, the running back here to help Matt Ryan get through the final years of his career, to provide some good playmaking ability out of the backfield that they need.
Yeah, Todd Gurley, man, he's gonna give that explosive bump maybe that the Falcons offense has been looking for. Not that they're not explosive already, but let's get into it. Todd Gurley, drafted 10th overall out of Georgia in 2015 by the St. Louis Rams. You remember he had that ACL surgery during the offseason, so it's kind of doubtful. Like, some people were kind of concerned about drafting him that high. But he ended up making his professional debut week 3 of that year. And his rookie year finished with 1,100 yards despite only starting 12 times. And then he won Rookie of the Year, selected to the Pro Bowl. And then 2016, he had kind of a sophomore slump. He rushed for less than 900 yards, but then bounced back. Tyler, tell me about his next 2 years.
Oh, his next 2 years were awesome. His next 2 years were really great. I mean, 2017 was his first year with, that mythical man, Sean McVay, at the helm. And he had over 2,000 total yards from scrimmage, 19 touchdowns. And 2018 was kind of more the same, you know. After that great year, he signed a 4-year, $60 million extension to start after his rookie contract, after his 5th year. And then he still produced with 1,800 total yards and this time 21 touchdowns. And he was named a first-team All-Pro. And this is all still on his rookie deal, these 4 years. And then the end of 2018 saw this very weird thing happen with them, with the relationship between the Rams and Gurley.
Yeah, in 2018, if you remember, towards the end of the year, there was like this whole discussion of whether he was injured or not, and C.J. Anderson started getting a lot of carries, and it was just kind of like a strange time because he wasn't officially injured, but there were all these rumors circling around about his knee. And then after that, if you remember, that was the season they went to the Super Bowl too, and they lost to the Patriots. He had 3 carries the entire Super Bowl. So after that season, it was revealed that he had knee inflammation and that he had arthritis in his left knee. And so his production went down. In 2019, he only had 1,000 total yards. I mean, I say only because that's not a lot compared to what we're used to seeing from him. And he still had 14 touchdowns, which it's a lot. I mean, it's a good number of touchdowns, but just his yardage and his what's it called?
Usage?
His volume numbers went down. So in total, throughout his career so far, he's been to 3 Pro Bowls. He's been named first-team All-Pro twice. He's second-team All-Pro once, and he was the 2017 Offensive Player of the Year. We didn't mention that before. And since he came into the league in 2015, he leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns, which is something that maybe gets overlooked because you have players like Zeke and players like that just coming in and getting a lot of touchdowns. Melvin Gordon.
So here's the thing that we don't talk about enough. And as soon as C.J. Anderson came in and started getting all these carries, everybody started and not just real NFL fans, but fantasy football, dynasty fans, people that started doubting, why do you pay running backs, analysts and everything. They were all saying it's not Gurley, it's the system. And then C.J. Anderson leaves, goes to Carolina, barely sniffs the field because Christian McCaffrey is there. And it's okay, it's not the system really. It is the player. Some players can excel in the system, but Todd Gurley is a special talent. And in 2019, everybody talks about his down year. And yes, he had some slouching numbers, he still started 15 of 15 games. He missed one game, and he's supposed to be hurt and have a bad knee the entire year. On top of that, he got 33 less carries and 32 less targets in the passing game. So, of course, his numbers are going to be down. I mean, that's 65 less carries and targets combined. I mean, if you gave him those carries, he's over 1,000 yards again. And if you gave him those targets, he's probably closer to like 400 to 500 yards receiving. And so we're looking at about a 1,300 to 1,400 yard year, which is still better than his first 2 years in the league.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of blaming the Rams offense and how they kind of stopped using him as much for why his production went down. And we'll kind of get into what the Falcons will need to do to get the production back up. I'm going to just give like his contract details real quick. He was released by LA in March this year. You remember it was kind of a surprising move. He tweeted out that, what was it? He tweeted like, damn, I got fired on my day off, something like that. That was during the quarantine.
Yeah, the whole Friday tweet.
Yeah. And then like the day after, I think he signed with Atlanta for a 1-year deal, worth $5.5 million. He signed it like one day after being released, which is pretty quick.
And remember how I said after his third year going into 2018, he signed a huge extension. But it's the same thing in Christian McCaffrey now. That extension takes place afterwards. It extends past his rookie contract. And since he was a first-round pick, it extends past his fifth-year option, which was supposed to be this year. So he signed an extension, a huge extension, got a little bit of a signing bonus, and got some extra bump of money, and never even played a down for the Rams on that contract. However, he still gets money for never playing on that contract, which is $5 million, which, Aaron, to this date, have they paid him yet?
No, there's been some contention about that. They were originally supposed to play him, I think, $7.5 million. But then after, I don't really understand contracts a whole lot, but after the Falcons signed him, they're supposed to pay him $2.5 million of that. So the Rams are left with $5 million. Gurley says that they may be using the whole pandemic as an excuse, but so far both he and his new /old teammate Dante Fowler have filed grievances against the team for not paying the money they're owed. So we'll have to see how that turns out.
I mean, that's never a good sign, because if you're not going to pay a guy that you owed this much money to, and like it's a guarantee he gets it, and you're fighting against it, that's going to look bad for free agents trying to come on in. But, you know, we're not talking about the Rams and how they handle their players. We're talking about how the Falcons are benefiting from getting a guy that everybody says is down in the slumps, yet is still playing at a high level, and he's only 25 years old. He'll be 26 when the season starts. He's still young.
Yeah, I mean, they always say that running backs kind of they start to decline after 30, so he's got a few years left in him, provided his knee holds up.
So let's talk about how he's going to fit with this team. Let's talk about the offensive fit for the Atlanta Falcons here.
Well, Matt Ryan, the Falcons quarterback, he was quoted as saying that Gurley will be a quote-unquote awesome fit in Atlanta. So, I mean, that kind of tells you everything we need to know, and we can wrap the episode up right here.
Yeah, I think he has a degree in philosophy, so...
Yeah, it's very in-depth analysis by Matt Ryan. I mean, what do you expect him to say? That he's not going to do well in Atlanta?
But that's good right there. He gets signed and he automatically gets the quarterback support, which he should get, but he verbalizes it, which is pretty big.
And what quarterback wouldn't be happy with Gurley in there? Gurley's a true 3-down back, whereas Devontae Freeman he was a beast as a runner, like a power runner, but he was the liability in pass catching and in the passing game in general. Like, he wasn't good. He was a liability in pass protection, where Gurley can come in. He's great in pass protection. He's great catching the ball out of the backfield. He can stay on the field, not only in third and short, but also in third and long. He's, as a runner, he's got great vision. He's a very good fit for an inside run scheme, which is what the Falcons' offensive coordinator showed last year that he wants to run. Their offensive coordinator is Dirk Kotter. He was the head coach of the Bucks for a few years, but he's shown that he does want to be that inside run scheme team. And he's had success in the past with running backs who can run up the middle at Cotter. He was the offensive coordinator from 2007 to 2011, where the Jags were third in the league in rushing. He had Maurice Jones-Drew there at running back. So I think he sees kind of in Gurley a little bit of what he saw in Maurice Jones-Drew, like a guy that can come in, he can get yards up the middle. He can be kind of a power runner, but he's also very versatile and can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. And remember that the Falcons they do have a solid interior offensive line. They got Jamon Brown and Chris Lindstrom at guard and Alex Mack at center. And they also drafted a rookie center, Matt Hennessy, who we talked about in our draft review as well.
And that guy's going to be able to have some good sub packages, being able to come in and block. But right there, he has so much blocking for him. On top of that, though, the Rams, were known for having like this three-headed receiving monster, being able to be very deep at, and I think that if you go over to the Atlanta Falcons, they were just as deep last year. Granted, Austin Hooper's not there anymore, but with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, those are two elite options right there. Two guys that are very good at running routes. You bring in the fact that Hayden Hurst comes over now as the new starting tight end for them. And he's probably, I'm not saying he's going to exactly replicate Hooper, but he's a reliable option for them. Todd Gurley is a better pass catcher than Devontae Freeman. Now, if you're a Freeman fan and you don't like to hear that, yes, I know. Freeman has had years where he's caught, he caught 59 balls last year. And that's great. But those 59 balls were for 410 yards. He averaged 7 yards of reception, and his average yards per target was under 6. Let's take Todd Gurley. I'm not going to take Todd Gurley's 2019 because they didn't use him very well. Let's take his 2018, where he was averaging almost 10 yards a catch. His career average is about 10 yards a catch. That's just a world different right there. Catch rates are similar, but he's also better in pass protection. And that's key right there. I'm not saying Matt Ryan's old, but he's getting there. It's just he's around this peak where quarterbacks are supposed to fall off, but now in this day and age, quarterbacks are playing an extra 5 years longer than they would back in 2000.
Matt Ryan's older than me, so if you're older than me, then that's pretty old.
Yeah, and then that's a fact. So I don't know how else to leave with that, but he's a better pass protector. He's a better pass protector, and that's what's key here. He's able to run the rock up the middle. He's able to, be more than just a check down option. He can legitimately run routes, and he can protect Matt Ryan as well. I think how strong the interior offensive line is for the Atlanta Falcons is going to benefit Todd Gurley. Yes, this is a 1-year deal, but we could see this being a longer thing if the fit works as well as we think it will. And I just think this is the time for the Atlanta Falcons to capitalize. The Saints are a top-tier elite team, but a lot of people believe they're dependent on Drew Brees, who's on his last legs. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, while they have Tom Brady, it's brand new for them. They're starting fresh kind of with quarterback, and they have a defense that's kind of getting revamped. And the Carolina Panthers are in rebuild mode. So the NFL Falcons right now have to put their foot on the pedal and go balls to the walls to try and get back to the Super Bowl where they were. Yeah,
I think Gurley can really help them. I think he can help their offense be a bit more explosive. It's just the fact that he's more multi-dimensional than Freeman, that allows them to kind of be more explosive in their play call. Not like if you have a running back who can't catch a ball out of the backfield and you have him in there on 3rd and short, then they're going to run the ball. But if you have Gurley in there, you don't know if they're going to throw a screen pass. You don't know if they're going to maybe move him out to the slot. He can do everything.
Yeah, and on top of that, the biggest key factor there is that Todd Gurley gets first downs. In the last 2 years, Todd Gurley has 126 first downs in his last 2 years. That's tremendous. And I think that right there is a big beneficiary to teams that we say have success. This is why we were talking about another running back over for the Denver Broncos, Melvin Gordon, who is similar in the aspect where he gets a lot of first downs. And if you want to check out that video, icons at the top right, we say a lot of the same things we're saying about Gurley, where he helps that team out by replacing a different running back. Todd Gurley here is going to be able to just change the pace for the Atlanta Falcons. They're not going to be as one-dimensional where they, they're going to throw it on first, second, and third. Like, legitimately, they could have a power rushing offense just based on how good the interior offensive line is and Todd Gurley. But let's shift away from this. Let's move on to the long-term and I got to hang on, I have to restart. I said schlong. Let's shift. Let's shift to the short-term and the long-term impact, if there are any. So we always start short-term, Aaron. So
makes sense.
Go ahead and give us a short-term on what you'd think.
Well, I think he'll be an immediate upgrade over Freeman. That's going to allow the offense to disguise the play call more easily, like I said before.
Bam.
Yeah, he can stay in all three downs, be used in running or passing situations, and I think that'll help him. That'll help him out a lot this year. Maybe like they try and replace him in the draft next year. I don't know. Since he's only signed a 1-year deal, it's hard to kind of project any long-term effects, especially since he's a running back as well. And I think the main, what we need to see is, can he stay healthy? Will his knee be okay? And if his knee's okay, then I think he'll have a good year, and I think he'll play well with them.
Now, I think when you look into long-term impact, what we always talk about is, can this guy help the next running back up? Which, in this case, technically is Ito Smith. And, it could be a situation where if he has a successful season, he gets re-signed to another, deal. But this is a prove-it deal. And I think that we could see him sign something very similar to that Melvin Gordon signed here next year, if he has a good year, where he might get more than $5.5 million. It may not be $8 million, but I could see him signing a 2-year, $14 million contract with $8 million guaranteed. And if he provides what if he provides what the Falcons need, why wouldn't they do that? And his impact as well just could be, like we said, helping the young guys grow on the running back group. If they do decide to re-sign him and draft a running back, he can help mold that guy. But his biggest impact that might also be, like we keep talking about, is to prolong Matt Ryan's career. Because if Matt Ryan isn't sitting in the pocket as long, because he gets to hand the ball off more and more successful, down situations, then Matt Ryan can play for another year or two. And we see this time and time again. I mean, this will happen a lot for a lot of different teams. There's a reason why Tom Brady has been able to play for so long, because they get in these new, fresh, young running backs that can do so much. And yes, while he's dropping back a lot, they're disguising and they're letting him hand the ball off a lot. And that's what protects these quarterbacks. There's a reason why Peyton Manning got hurt, late in his career, because he wasn't getting those options as often as the other guys. So overall, I think short-term impact is obvious. He's going to have big playability. He's going to potentially lead the NFC South in rushing yards, is where he's going to be pushing. He has an advantage over Christian McCaffrey because he will run the ball more than he'll catch the ball. And long-term will just be, if he has a good year, it will help Matt Ryan out long-term, and potentially he can get re-signed. So let's move into predictions. This is fun because we just talked about in our last episode about James Bradbury as a cornerback. It's kind of hard to do projections. And I kind of like the direction we were going with over-under, so let's do it again. But this time, you get to ask the questions. I want you to ask some over-unders on Todd Gurley's projections.
All right, we're talking about just this coming season alone. Tell me what you think. Over, under 1,000 yards rushing.
I believe over. For me, it's simple. If he gets over 225 carries again, I think he's going to be stronger, healthier, a better offensive line. 1,000 yards is easy to get.
All right, next one. Over, under 500 yards receiving.
This isn't over for me because if you look at Matt Ryan's average the past 5 years, he's throwing at about, it's like 4,500 yards. So realistically, I don't see why he couldn't be the fourth option and get 500 yards receiving off of 50 catches.
All right. I got a tougher one. Over, under 20 touchdowns total.
I think that's going to be under. Now, the reason why is because they will throw so much. that I do think the ball's going to get spread around. I mean, Julio Jones, Hayden Hurst, those guys are going to be red zone threats. I do see a lot of he's going to have a large number of 20-plus yard plays, but I think his touchdown numbers will be lower than 20 total. I think 15 is a pretty high number just on this offense.
All right, yeah, I can get behind that.
Okay, let me throw it to you. Do you think do you think Todd Gurley is going to come back to true form?
Honestly, I don't. I think he'll be improved. I don't think he'll ever be back in that 2017, 2018 form, especially because knees are such a once your knee starts going, you're kind of boned. So I don't think he'll be like the superstar he once was. I think he'll definitely be improved from last year, and he'll definitely be an improvement over Devontae Freeman.
Do you see a Pro Bowl in his future after 2020?
After 2020?
Like the 2020 season's over. Did he make the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, I think so.
Alrighty. Well, there you guys have it. Any other predictions, Aaron?
No, I think I predict that there. I got one. I predict that there will be at least one Twitter video uploaded from a shaky camera phone of Todd Gurley doing shots in a bar with Georgia college students. That's what I think.
Yeah, at least 1 or 100 different videos of the same video. But that is going to do it for us here on Second and Short. We just want to say, thank you, Atlanta Falcons fans, for tuning on in. Thank you, Todd Gurley fans, Georgia fans, maybe Rams fans that are a little bitter about the whole move and everything. Whatever. If you're a football fan, running back fan, thank you for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button. It lets us know that we're doing a good job here and that we're going to continue to give you guys videos every Monday and every Thursday. Also, hit that like button to let us know that you do actually like this video here. And if you don't like the video, comment down below. Let us know what we did wrong. Maybe even send us a personal email laying out what you would do better and how our voices sound terrible or whatever. Let us know.
Hit us up on social media as well. It's all linked in the description. We got Facebook. I'm posting every episode on Facebook. Instagram, we've got posts almost every day. Not just episodes, but updates, discussion points, things like that.
Some of the cleanest images on Instagram.
I'm blushing. And then on Twitter as well. Also, if you want to hit us up, feel free to direct message us on any of those platforms. We also got our email. We'll put it down in the description. If you have anything you want to tell us privately, that works well.
He did say to slide into his DMs, everybody.
You can just slide on in there.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys, and have a good night.